Tonight, China is either our best friend or our worst enemy. We'll try to figure out which. Plus, can the government get you pregnant? They're sure gonna try. And we pay tribute to the Pope and help pick the next one.
I have some ideas about that. Okay, first, go, yeah.
I actually don't think that you are the right person to ask about that.
And why not?
Well, usually the people who pick the next Pope don't sell as many feet pics as you do.
Okay, well, who says I've been making sales? I mean, have you seen these things?
Oh, no, leave the shoe on. Okay. Welcome to the Fenix News Report. Cash rules everything around us, so let's talk about dollar bills, y'all. We will start with China, who has made everything within your immediate vicinity and probably the device you're watching this on. China has told the U.S. to eat shit and die over the course of several weeks. But don't worry, Donald Trump is not backing down.
We've been ripped off for years, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore. No, I'm not going to bend at all. Aluminum or steel or cars, no exceptions, no nothing. We don't necessarily want to make a deal with them.
Would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're not looking at them. I'm not going to make a deal.
You hear that, China? Not backing down. Well, maybe a little bit backing down.
We are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active.
Mr. President, has there been any direct contact between the U.S. and China on trade at all?
Yeah, of course.
And
every day.
Okay, so we are in talks with China about a trade deal, unless we're not.
Well, the problem is that he was undermined in that sentiment and rhetoric by his own Treasury Secretary, who told reporters this morning that, quote, both sides are waiting to speak to the other. Waiting to speak to the other. I mean, that's the whole waiting by the phone thing that's been going on for weeks now.
We should note here that a Chinese spokesperson also said there are currently no economic and trade negotiations between China and the United States, and any claims about progress in China-U.S. economic and trade negotiations are baseless rumors without factual evidence. So what's going on here? Well, basically, Trump is trying to save face here because he chickened out.
Trump chickened out. At least that is what the Chinese are saying. I mean, that post with the viral hashtag Trump chicken out now has 150 million views. I mean, some of the things that are being said on Chinese social media, he's like a child who changes his stances instantly. Today's Trump beat yesterday's Trump. What will tomorrow's Trump do? But why did Trump put 145% tariffs on China only to back down? Why would that happen? I mean, because according to the Wall Street Journal tonight, Trump is considering major concessions, potentially slashing some tariffs on Chinese imports by more than half. And that's pretty incredible. To cut by more than half when you haven't even started negotiating means you are negotiating against yourself. You know, if these tariffs are being slashed like this, that is backing off. And the only reason that you're backing off is it is so odd is that the entire fight was picked by him to begin with, right? I mean, this wouldn't be even a thing if he hadn't started it.
And when it comes to orange chicken, China knows what they're talking about. They invented it, after all. So if Trump chickened out, the question is, why? Well, that is because of a little meeting he had with the CEOs of Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, where they warned him that, hey, bud, our shelves are about to be empty thanks to your little trade war. And when our shelves are empty, people start to freak out. And Americans wiping their asses with tree bark instead of toilet paper is not going to be good for your approval ratings. Now, Trump's ears perked right up at the mention of something having to do with himself, and that seems to have gotten the message through. Shit, we could have solved this months ago if we had just told him, no more gold toilets if you tariff China.
Now, Mr. Art of the Deal here also backed down on firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell after everyone freaked out. And you may be noticing a theme. Trump says he's going to do something outrageous. He thumps his chest, people freak out, and then he chickens out. I mean, remember Liberation Day? Well, after everyone freaked out and a whole bunch of hardworking Americans lost their retirement savings, he suddenly decided to declare a pause for 90 days. So now that the whole world knows that he folds under pressure, how good do you think these trade deals are going to end up being? I mean, the legitimacy of the U.S. economy is currently on par with your cousin Scooby asking to just hold $10 for a bit. My prediction? By the time he's done, he'll have Benjamin buttoned us into worse trade deals than when he started.
But hey, If the tariffs don't deliver the Benjamins into America's bank account, we can always go after the students. Trump's education department, now functioning mostly as a glorified debt collector, has announced it will start collecting on defaulted student loans again by withholding tax refunds and possibly garnishing wages. This prompted many top officials to ask, hey, what's 15% of $0?
Looks like if America wants some cheddar, it's going to need smart financial advice from smart people. Unfortunately, we're stuck with Elon, another rich guy fighting Trump for the title of world's worst businessman. Tesla earnings came out this week, and their profits are down a staggering 71%. Now, is that because sometimes Teslas catch on fire, or maybe it's because they've been speeding up odometers so their warranties expire faster? Or is it because Elon is cozying up to far right and that's made his brand toxic to the very people most likely to buy electric cars? Nah, it's because Elon's been neglecting them. Elon says he's going to cut back on the Doge stuff, so in May he can refocus on Tesla. Oh great! Now Tesla can finally get back to not delivering anything on time ever.
But though he may be departing, Elon's legacy at Doge lives on. Doge got told no by a judge when the Department of Gutting Efficiently tried to lay off 90% of employees at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. At first, I couldn't understand why they would want layoffs at an organization that protects consumers, but when you remember that Cybertrucks sometimes burn people alive, it starts to make sense.
In another opposite of Robin Hood story, the Department of Gumdrop Edification has recently lost $1 billion of their claimed savings. You'd think an organization created to save the government money would keep track of exactly how much money they're saving, but nope. Apparently, when they fired all those employees, they also launched the accounting department into the sun. Geez, I hope they don't all get fired for that.
Speaking of being screwed, let's talk about fucking. Everybody wants to do it, but nobody wants the consequences. The U.S. birth rate has been falling for reasons that are insanely obvious, but you can trust the best brains in the nation to solve this issue and get people pumping out more sentient meat sacks. That's right, the Trump administration, who we all know are experts in matters of female stuff, they are trying to improve the birth rate. They have proposed educating women about menstrual cycles, which seems like projection, giving women who have lots of babies some kind of medal, and also paying women $5,000 per birth, which is an offer more insulting than a Subway free sub punch cards. Yes, ladies, if you endure 9 months of pain and debilitation to pop a human being straight into hellfire, they will cover 1 hour of your hospital stay. Go ahead, treat yourself to a lime jello cup on old Uncle Sam.
If you somehow manage to have a child, there's a good chance that child may have an extreme enthusiasm for trains and anime, and the government is looking to stamp that out. RFK Jr.'s autism study, aka the prelude to eugenics and extermination, is set to collect lots of medical data from lots of Americans in a quest to identify autistic people. You know, with so much effort chasing a very specific topic, it appears autism is RFK Jr.'s special interest. Can we refocus him back onto trains or something?
Now, as a birth giver, I do have a few notes for the government on how to get those birth rates up. And to start with, could you make everything, I don't know, maybe not feel like the fucking Thunderdome? You're supposed to go to college, get a degree, get a job. Oh, but didn't you guys just get rid of over 280,000 jobs? And between tariffs, AI, robots, the number of available jobs is shrinking. Unemployment is up. So maybe y'all could stop with the chainsawing and start doing some of that job creation y'all keep bragging about but don't seem to actually ever do. And let me be specific so this doesn't turn into like a monkey's paw type situation. We do not want all of the jobs to be coal miner, okay?
Okay, so let's say a lady can get herself a job in this economy. Now she can buy a house. Only the houses are too expensive and the trade war is making it worse, so maybe y'all could lower housing prices like you said you were gonna do on the campaign trail. So she has a place to, you know, raise the baby.
Okay, so if a lady gets a job and a house somehow, all she needs now is for Mr. Right to come along and start squirting some baby batter. Oh, but the manosphere y'all have going is cranking out dudes who think that women are put on this earth solely to be enslaved by men who claim to love them. And that really dries up the pussy area. Maybe y'all can do something about that.
Okay, so let's say the missus gets herself pregnant. Congrats, girl. You're knocked up in the nation with the worst maternal mortality in the developed world. Are we going to study why that's happening? Nope, because the Trump administration just cut all that funding because it was woke. So if you have a miscarriage in a red state and you go to a doctor to get some help for that, you could end up arrested because they think you tried to have an abortion. And the #1 cause of maternal death is homicide by the fella who gave her the baby batter in the first place. Ladies, you feeling that biological clock ticking yet? Come on, let's go.
Now let's say homegirl makes it through all that and actually gives birth. Enjoy that astronomical hospital bill, and no, we will not be helping you with that. Also, you can either stay at home and become financially dependent on your husband while doing 100% of the housework and child rearing while secretly fantasizing about setting his Xbox on fire, or you can go to work and pay for childcare that costs more than your gigantic mortgage. Gee, it sure would be a lot easier to pay for that if you made as much as your male colleagues, but you don't, and you never will because you don't have a penis.
But don't worry, the government is here to look after that baby by one day giving it an education. Except for all the school funding keeps getting cut, so maybe you can teach Junior the ABCs and all that free time you have.
But you can take comfort in knowing they have your little one's best interests at heart. Texas lawmakers are trying to ban the furry subculture from public schools with something called the Furries Act, which would ban kids from wearing animal ears, making animal noises, or doing anything else considered non-human during school hours. The bill was drafted in response to a single incident in Smithville ISD, which has no details and may not exist at all.
Okay, I love to see how seriously they're taking this issue. One incident and we're already drafting legislation. Hey, I actually have some more incidents for you guys to start drafting legislation about, like 48 incidents, because that's how many people have been shot in Texas schools over the past 10 years. Do you think we can take that same level of urgency from that furry legislation and just sort of, just borrow it for the shooting stuff too? Can we do a little transfer, a little swap-a-rooney? Maybe we can have that urgency now for this, and then when we're done, we can give it back to the furry thing.
But sure, $5 grand should make up for all of that. Listen, I love my kids to death and I have zero regrets about having them, but it damn sure wasn't easy. And my life as a mother gets harder every day because of Texas's Republican-dominated legislature. When they take away more funding from schools, and they're always doing that, you know who has to get their wallet out? Me. I completely get why a woman would not want to get pregnant right now. And if you want those thighs to start a-spreading, you might start by asking us what we need, because $5 grand is the tip of a very large iceberg. I know, you have this brilliant system where a room full of dudes just speculates and women never need to be involved. But you should try talking to us. It's just crazy enough to work.
Pete Hegseth is in trouble again. This time for sending war plans to his brother and wife on Signal. Now everyone is wondering about Petey's wife. Why is she accompanying him in sensitive meetings? Why is she on group chat talking about bombing Yemen? Well, I have a theory. See, old Petey cheated on his first wife 5 times, and he cheated on his second wife with his current wife. So if I were her, I'd keep him on a tight leash too.
Listen here, Petey Pants. I see how you've been looking at your secretary. Don't even think about trying that shit with me. From now on, everywhere you go, I go. You meeting the Joint Chiefs? I'll be right there beside you. And if you're texting someone, even if it's about bombing Yemen, you better have me in that group chat. I'm gonna be so far up your ass that I'll be tickling your tonsils. Behave yourself.
Now the White House insists that Petey Pants has Trump's full backing. But NPR has reported that Hegseth is on his way out. You see, Pete Hegseth is currently at the very specific point in the Trump loyalty life cycle. Now at the beginning of the cycle, Trump says the nicest things about you.
Got a boost Friday from President-elect Donald Trump, who posted on social media that the former Fox News host is doing very well and that his support is strong and deep, much more so than the fake news would have you believe.
Beautiful. That's the first stage, full of hope, loyalty, and very little context. But right now, we are firmly at stage 3, scandal. And if we take a look at a couple of Trump's previous appointees who've made it this far along, we can predict what's coming next. Let's start with George Papadopoulos, former Trump foreign policy advisor. At first, Trump called him an excellent guy.
George Papadopoulos, he's an oil and energy consultant, excellent guy.
Then George pled guilty to lying to the FBI, and suddenly, Trump had amnesia.
Few people knew the young, low-level volunteer named George, who has already proven to be a liar.
Okay, George, thank you for your service. Off you go. Next up, Anthony Scaramucci, aka the Mooch, former White House communications director for 11 whole days.
President Trump has found a kind of kindred spirit in his newly appointed communications director.
Then, when Scaramucci started getting headlines and Trump immediately reached for his Men in Black memory eraser.
I think Anthony is really somebody that's very much out of control, and he doesn't have what it takes. I mean, he really doesn't.
And there it is, the final phase, where Trump gives him the old new phone, who dis? So, based on historical patterns, and we are a science-based show, we can confidently say that sometime in the next few weeks, Trump will have never heard of Pete Hegseth.
Speaking of Trump's careless cabinet, Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem had her purse totally stolen right under the noses of her family and Secret Service detail. The purse contained a mountain of cash and IDs and shit, but it was definitely not a way to pay a bribe or launder money. But the really scary part is that the thief managed to plant all that cocaine in her pockets too. Over in Congress, the GOP has been having more fun with their town halls. First up, Byron Donalds held a town hall in his ruby red Florida district, and his constituents were seeing, well, red.
Now, President Obama wanted to do what President Obama was elected president of the United States. You can do what you want to, but those are the facts.
But hey, you don't have to wait for an actual town hall to start fighting with your constituents. Just ask Representative Nancy Mace, who decided to start a fight in a drugstore.
Because you people on the left are crazy. You're absolutely fucking crazy.
I'm absolutely fucking crazy.
You are. And get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
We're looking forward to next week when Ted Cruz takes a swing at a Vietnam War veteran at a Cracker Barrel.
Let's turn now to Trump's deportation machine, where we ask, is it possible to make it more insane?
Well, okay, a U.S.-born immigration attorney got asked to self-deport by DHS.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I feel like we can make it better. Can it be more dickish?
Sure, definitely. Okay, how about this? There was a lawyer that gave an immigrant family some free legal advice, nothing illegal, just helping them understand their rights. And then a few days later, 2 cops, not in uniform, no badges, they showed up at his house, they didn't identify themselves, and get this, they cut his Wi-Fi so his doorbell camera could not record them.
Oh my God, that is more dickish for sure.
Yeah.
But can it get more cruel?
Ooh, okay, yes, okay. How about Kilmar Abrego Garcia's wife being forced to move her children to a safe house because the DHS published her home address online?
Wow, that's pretty good. But I gotta be honest, I feel like we can get even worse.
Oh, okay, well, how about children representing themselves in immigration court?
This image that you share in your storytelling could be all a child has to get through their immigration proceedings.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. That's the kind of cruel dickishness I was looking for from the Trump administration. Great job, you guys. I knew you could do it. Pope Francis passed away. And first off, we just need to put out there that we will not be implying that J.D. Vance in any way caused the death of the late Pope Francis. It's easy to say something like, oh, J.D. Vance killed Papa Frank. But is it not also possible that the 88-year-old recovering from severe pneumonia needed to clear his head by donning a leather jacket and riding his Harley around the streets of Rome, only to be distracted by some hot piece of ass and hit a comically large cart full of spaghetti? Look, clearly Vance had the means, motive, and opportunity, but if Agatha Christie has taught me anything, it's that he is at best a red herring.
Pope Francis, or Frankie Big Hat to the boys, was notable in his papacy for being the first Latin American pope, the first former bouncer to be God's emissary on earth, and having a side gig as a ska-only DJ for small to medium events. By most accounts, he was a good fella and not half bad as a pope, which historically has been a very low bar. Not Trump presidency low, but there were wars, atrocities, greed, murder, things like that. Not all them popes poped as good as Frankie Big Hat is what I'm saying.
Now, before the Pope went on to meet his maker, he of course met with VPJD, the Pontiff, indirectly but directly called out Vance and the administration's cruel strategy of mass deportation, labeling them as disgraceful and a grave sin. Vance defended himself by putting out a cigar on an ICE detainee, but in their brief meeting the day before Pappy Francis' passing, Vance expressed his gratitude that the Big Papa was in better health and said that he prays for the Pope every day. Of course, Pope Francis died immediately afterwards. So, and follow me here, red herring, the one that was last seen with the deceased? No, too obvious. Enter Marjorie Taylor Greene, lover of CrossFit and talking about herself, which is the same thing. The twit tweeted, well, I'll let her tell you herself.
Well, I didn't kill him, goddammit.
Margie, Pope Francis died at 12:45 a.m. Central Time, and you tweeted, today there were major shifts in global leadership. Evil is being defeated by the hand of God. At 9:44 a.m., giving you plenty of time to indulge your God complex, then ignore the flight attendant's request for you to put your phone on airplane mode while you try to establish a transatlantic alibi.
Okay, but you got no proof. I got witnesses who will swear they didn't see me kill him. Diplomatic immunity. Weren't they supposed to check his pulse 3 days later or something?
Empty, it's okay. Because we all know you didn't do it, right? Sure, we believe you probably tried to, but you're dumb. You're like way too dumb to get past the Swiss Guard. Outfits aside, they are not a joke like you are. No, you're another red herring. The one that wanted to kill the victim, but screwed it up. Too easy.
Not too easy. You want to see me do a chin-up, detective?
Oh, Lord, give me strength. Would you please just caw out of here?
Spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch. Caw!
Every time with you.
Hey, idiot. You do the big reveal about who really killed the Pope yet? 'Cause you're wrong.
Jeremy, is that you from the future? Where's Jen?
Oh, she's trying to take care of the demons that got unleashed up here when y'all... Oh, wait, you haven't gotten to that part yet. Never mind. That's going to be a wild ride, though. But my point is, y'all have no idea who killed the Pope.
No way, future Jeremy. Just because you walk around in a world of spoilers, there is no way I'm wrong.
Dude, Jeremy's in the future. He can't be wrong.
Exactly, you caveman. I'm in the future, so why don't you go invent the wheel or something, Detective Dipshit?
Unless future Jeremy is the murderer.
Evil, right? But no, murder ain't my jam. Plus, Jen and I had this strict no going on the lamb boundary. It messes with our karaoke schedule. Plus, Pope Francis was my love child. Twist.
Okay, future Jeremy, I am running out of cast for this bottle episode. Help me out here. Who really murdered the Pope?
Dude!
This is real life, not some silly TV show.
Okay, I will now reveal the killer. Love you, bye.
Damn it, don't do that. You can't just end the show to get out of this.
Not with that
Plus,
attitude.
No one, not even J.D. Vance, killed the Pope. Dude was 88 years old. He was besties with Jesus. He was practically his pool boy. Lived in his house and everything. It was just his time.
You're right. You're right. I've been listening to too many true crime podcasts. Clearly, it was natural causes, and we should all spare a moment of silence out of respect for a person who lived their life according to their best ideals. I mean, for better or worse. Hey, big ups, Frankie.
See, I told you you'd get it wrong. And you'll never catch me, bitches.
The Pope's death kicks off a week-long series of arcane rituals, which, hey, fun fact, used to involve hitting the Pope with a hammer to make sure he was dead. Kind of a dick move. Now it's time for election 2025, new Pope who dis? And the betting markets are popping off. It turns out any male baptized in the Catholic Church can be elected Pope, which is why I'm formally announcing my candidacy.
Wait, what? You can't be the Pope, you're a fake news host.
But I have a policy to make the Vatican great again, like making churches child-free zones. Can't diddle if there ain't nothing to diddle. And we will save millions by leasing the cry rooms to Dunkin' Donuts.
Holy guacamole!
Also, communion wafers are boring, and honestly, well, they're a bit confusing. Like, do you expect me to believe that this is Jesus's dick? We're gonna replace communion wafers with Slim Jims, and while we're at it, wine makes my tummy hurt, so we replace that with Miller Lite, and the congregant can shotgun it at their discretion.
Are you trying to turn the church into the alley behind the gas station?
And finally, we're gonna take all the priests who have been accused of kitty diddling and drop them off on a remote island for a new reality show called Naked and Be Not Afraid. What truths will be unveiled in the confession booth? And will love conquer the age gap and blossom on a dick of their own age?
I think you might be the worst Pope ever.
Okay, worse than that guy that dug up a dead body so we could put it on trial and yell at it.
Yeah, he's probably got you beat. And now, let's talk about a story that is impossible to gently segue into. And yes, it involves Kanye. Kanye West has admitted, for some reason only known to Kanye West, to having a gay incestuous relationship with his cousin while they were both children. The world sighed a collective, yeah, that tracks, and went back to existential terror. The lyrics of the waterboarding level confession-turned-song apparently features lyrics asking Kanye's cousin to not talk about their experiences. Feels like the horse might have left the barn on that one.
Now this one, it surprised me. Did you have gay cousin sex on your Kanye West bingo card?
No, definitely not. I've got ex-wife finally escaped sexual mind control. I've got filming a music video on Hitler's grave. There's fish porn, that's on there a couple times. Nothing about the gay cousin sex.
And I assume you've got the fashion line made it entirely of swastikas?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's right there. That's right there. But this was a surprise.
Shocking.
I know.
Let's turn now to the world of technology. Sam Altman revealed that people saying please and thank you to ChatGPT was costing tens of millions of dollars. He added tens of millions of dollars well spent. How does Sam know this? Because just last year he had a team studying the results of being rude to his chatbot. The study was terminated when the lead researcher was found dead in his bedroom, smothered by a pillow, his Roomba still dutifully vacuuming around within the locked room, and his suicide note open on his PC, with Clippy maniacally bouncing in the corner of the screen.
In other tech news, a Waymo car in Austin recently locked in its passengers and wouldn't let them out.
Cars kept honking at us, and it would not move. It would not let us out. No one from customer support would actually move the Waymo. So now we are walking on Mopac, and our Waymo is still there.
The Waymo was reportedly saying, "You damn kids don't understand the sacrifices your mother and I make for you," and it refused to stop to get the Minecraft Happy Meal or take a pee break. A convincing extra for Hereditary 2 and/or Final Destination 53, the car finally released its would-be victims with the ominous message, "The curse has found another." This has gone down in history as the least threatening commuter on Austin roadways.
In other cursed news, a pair of Australian twins have gone viral for describing a horrific car accident in a way that is way more terrifying than the car accident itself. The twins, who I can't stress enough, are describing a car accident with an active shooter popping out, are somehow the most threatening part of this story.
And he goes, "Run, he's got a gun." And our heart started to pound, and I said, "Oh, Mum, where's Mum?"
Right, I wouldn't trust these two in the hallway of a Red Roof Inn, much less describing the events of a horrific auto accident. When you have the same inflection saying, "There's been an auto accident with multiple fatalities," as you do, The breakfast bar is out of creamer? There is something seriously wrong. Australia, we love you. But between this and getting face fucked by wolf spiders, y'all need to take it down a notch.
And now it's time for the segment that makes us want to fake our own death the least. News from the animal kingdom. Scientists say that there's nothing wrong with coming home from a long day of throwing poop to hang out with your bros. And the same thing is true for wild chimpanzees. Out in West Africa, a group of these Z's were out in the bush, cracking open a fine-looking fermented breadfruit and getting hammered.
I gotta tell you, it is just, it's nice to see animals be just like people. I mean, a chimpanzee could probably rip your arm off and beat you to death with it, but who are we to tell them they drink too much? I mean, not me. I am not going out there to tell them anything.
The scientific community gave a collective sigh of relief this week as studies have shown a significant recovery in the population of sea turtles.
Man, this is fantastic news. The turtles love it because, well, they're alive. And sadly, RFK Jr. loves it because his blood is up and he is craving some succulent turtle meats.
Now, a number of factors have led to the rise of the turtles. Awareness and regulations have minimized threats to their habitats. Volunteers have safeguarded eggs waiting to hatch. And RFK Jr. prevention nets have kept the cabinet secretary away from the hatchlings as they crawl to the ocean. There's also been a decline in natural predators, other than Kennedy, like killer whales, giant squid, and the shredder. But most importantly, the turtles themselves have finally learned to stop being pussies and eat plastic like the rest of us.
This has been News from the Animal Kingdom.
And finally tonight, we're going to end with a sweet little story. A guy got sucked into some quicksand while walking on the beach with his lady friend.
So his lady friend called for help on the phone, and he called for help. And while they were calling for help, they started referring to each other as boyfriend and girlfriend. So, thanks to the Quicksand, they are in a relationship now. Good work, Quicksand.
That wraps up this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, why not send it to a friend so they can get a chuckle too? Don't forget to check out our podcast, Washington to Westminster, which comes out every Wednesday. And we will see you back here next Friday. Keep flying, y'all.
Love you. Bye.
You're not. Get the fuck out.
Are you sure?
Get the fuck out.
Are you sure?
Get the fuck out.
I could do it.
His ruby red Florida district and his
Now the White House insists that Pete Hegseth has Trump. Fuck. Can I just do Pete? This is how we do it.
Let's not talk about the murders we did on camera, okay?
We didn't do those on camera.
Now, gives the ass an old shappin'. That's not a thing people say.
It should be. It's great.
Gives the ass an old shappin'.
Oh, that does give the ass an old shappin'.
Gives the ass an old shappin'. Old chaperoo.
Hey, look at that ass. Flaking all over the place. Blood on the seats. You know, you get it.
It's from the tree bark. It's from the tree bark.